Good afternoon. Welcome to Turnout Radio on CIUT 89.5 FM. I'm Nicole Inica Hamilton, back to open up with you about the latest on the dance scene and the heart of what moves us. Welcome to this dance space. How are you doing, folks? It's so good, so good to be back with you on this Wednesday afternoon. And so, as we enter into the space today, we're opening up conversation regarding the landscape of classical ballet with considerations from the lens of our featured guest of the hour. Coming up on the broadcast, artistic director and founder of Ballet Black, Cassa Pancho, is in the house. So stay tuned and stay locked in right here on CIUT. We're going to take a break and be right back after this. You're listening to Turnout Radio on CIUT 89.5 FM. Welcome back to Turnout Radio on CIUT 89.5 FM. I'm Nicole Inica Hamilton. Born from Trinidadian and British parents, Cassa Pancho founded Ballet Black in 2001 after graduating from professional dance training and was one of the first dancers and choreographers in the company. Her initial goal was to provide role models to young, aspiring Black and Asian dancers. Ballet Black has won both the Critics' Circle National Dance Award for Outstanding Company in 2009, Best Independent Company in 2012, and Best Mid-Scale Company in 2022. Cassa was awarded an MBE in the 2013 New Year's Honors List for services to classical ballet and has served as a judge on the panels of both the Kenneth Macmillan Choreographic and BBC Young Dancer Competition and the Arts Foundation Futures Dance Jury in 2022. This season, Cassa Pancho's Ballet Black will present Nina by Whatever Means at the upcoming Fall for Dance North Festival. I am extremely thrilled to welcome Cassa Pancho to Turnout Radio. Welcome to the broadcast. How are you doing, Cassa? So great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to see you.
Oh, it's so lovely to see you as well. First time on Turnout Radio. First of many times, I hope.
Hopefully.
Well, welcome to the show. And very soon I'm going to be saying welcome to Toronto as well.
I know. The countdown is on here.
Yes. How have the preparations been as you prepare to arrive in our fair city?
Well, it has been a little bit chaotic. We have a lot of packing to do. We have to fit the entire Nina Ballet into some suitcases, which we have not done before. And yesterday we sent the set off by air freight. So hopefully it will be with you very soon. And it's just something that we have not really experienced before because we tend to tour around the UK and Europe. And that means that we don't take set. So this is the first time we're taking a production of this size somewhere as far away as Canada.
Well, I am looking so forward to it. So
Mm,
we're going to experience having the set arrive before all of you
yes.
arrive. Yes. Yeah. Well, welcome in advance.
Thank you.
Welcome in advance. Yes, we are looking so forward to seeing you all in Toronto at the Fall for Dance North Festival. And I'm looking forward to coming up and saying hello in person.
Please do. I will
Yeah.
be sitting there going, because it's just been such an exciting time to even, consider going to North America. It was never something that we thought would be possible. And I think also post the pandemic, it's been quite difficult to get back to touring. So to be able to do something as ambitious as bring
Mm.
the company to Canada is very exciting for us.
Yes, yes, I hear that. And I'm so curious when you say that it was never something that you thought was possible. Was that due to the pandemic or was that due to another reason?
I think pre-pandemic, we are so close to Europe here in London that traveling to Italy, Germany, Holland, it's a couple of hours for us, to get somewhere. To go to Canada is probably the one of the longest trips that we will have made as a company. And things like the logistics of moving our set and all the dancers and costumes and putting up 17 people overseas has all felt a little bit out of our reach, but with this Fall for Dance opportunity it gives us a chance to actually do it, and this has been a great test for us to see how ready we are to travel as far as North America, and so far I think we are standing up to the challenge.
Yes, I think so. I think so. Yes, and for many of you, it will be the first time in Toronto.
Yes, I think we have some American dancers, so it's a little bit closer to home for them. But we have dancers from Brazil and Japan and India and the UK, and they have never been to Canada. Neither have I or our crew. So we're very excited.
Yes, yeah. Well, again, we're looking forward to welcoming you to our fair city, and so it begins. So it begins. Well, let's talk about Ballet Black, which I'm so looking forward to exploring with you today. Ballet Black, for many of us, we know, aims to make a fundamental change, Casa, in the diversity of classical ballet in Britain. And as the company has developed, grown, and as you have taken a personal look at the climate of ballet, one of the things I'm curious to know from you is what approaches has the company used to shift the climate and the landscape of how classical ballet is perceived and presented? What are some of those approaches that you have considered?
That's a huge question. We are in October, we'll be turning 22. So I like to think that I've reached a place where I can answer a question like that with a little bit of authority. Um, my ethos for Ballet Black is usually show, don't tell. So we are going to perform and be excellent. We are going to teach children how to do ballet and be great at doing that and produce great students. And that was the main method for me personally to get our message out there from 2001 when I started the company. If we fast forward to 2020 and the death of George Floyd, that really changed the approach of the company because suddenly everyone was asking us, how do we be better? What can we do to make a change? And instead of us just being great in our own bubble, we were forced as an organization to tell people or advise people on what they should do to try and make fundamental changes in their own organizations. And that stretched us in a different way. So we were used to showing, whether it was at a performance or on a tour or anything like that, which was kind of part of our daily existence. So nothing that we really had to think about other than the excellence of ballet. Then this resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement, for one moment in time, made every arts organization around us pledge to make a difference. And in the UK, we don't have Dance Theatre of Harlem, we don't have, Alvin Ailey, so we don't have companies like that with a long history of being spokespeople for these issues. So a lot of the arts world turned to us. And it was a real learning curve in talking about issues with people, some of whom were genuine about change, some who just wanted to put that black square on Instagram and make a statement and then wait for it to die down and not really do anything. So it was also an exercise in having to judge where the energy would go, who were we going to try and help, who was not genuine. And it's still really ongoing now. We're still in conversations with organizations, and we're also actively choosing not to engage with others.
And I think that right there. I love what you said there as well. Making these conscious choices as well of who to engage with and who not to engage with as the work continues, because the work will always be ongoing. And there will be those who are performative in their approaches to the work and significant shift. And then there are those that are extremely invested in the conversations, which I know, Cassa, and you would have well, is a conversation that is steeped in so much history when we look at a lot of the fundamental understandings of what we know of classical ballet, of ballet, and a lot of the historical roots that are also based in racism and based in a form, class, and regime of movement that was not necessarily created with all bodies in mind.
Yeah. Yes. And I think when I started the company in 2001, I, as a young 21, 22-year-old, had no idea of how deep that ran, particularly in a country like the UK, where, we have gone out and we have colonized parts of the world, and the legacy that leaves behind. And I believe, again, because of the death of George Floyd, we are starting to really explore what that means in this country in a way that we weren't doing pre George Floyd, and also pre-pandemic, where I think that moment where we were all at home, wherever you were in the world, and we were watching the footage of this man be killed every day. It was shown every single day, and we were forced, we couldn't go back to work and acknowledge how awful it was, but then go on with our daily lives, and it becomes something that we forget about. It was something that was pushed to the forefront of everybody's minds. And so that has opened up a conversation about what does this repertoire in a ballet company mean to somebody who is of Caribbean heritage, of African heritage, of Asian heritage. What are we saying? What are we asking Black artists to experience when they have to go into certain pieces that have been done historically without any complaint for years and years? But when we start to really delve deeper into it, what are we doing? What stories are we telling, and who are they for today in 2023? And I think that the ballet world moves slowly, And a lot of these conversations are immediately written off as nonsense, and this is classic art, this is, we must protect this work at all costs. And I think really it's more about having the discussion. What does it mean to program the Nutcracker if your audience was 50% Chinese, and the Chinese dance as it used to be was in this show? As a director or an owner of a theatre, do you really feel comfortable if you knew that your audience were Chinese seeing this dance the way it was? I mean, here in the UK, I believe most companies have changed their Chinese dance. I know in Canada and the US, there's loads more companies than we have here. And I'm not sure if that work has happened everywhere, but it's just about opening up the discussion, because sometimes we fight over preserving our history, or what we should say, how we should refer. Are you Black? Are you mixed race? Are you white? What am I allowed to say? And by the time we've sorted out all of those things, we haven't discussed the actual issue, which I think really slows things down. And in ballet, which tends to move slowly anyway, it feels like we are a little bit behind the rest of the arts world, who've been confronting these things for longer.
Well said.
Oh, thank you.
Well said. I think about the trauma that is often forgotten and not discussed. I'm reflecting on what you've shared. The trauma that's often forgotten and not discussed when we ask dancers to delve back or to step into moving through a work that is steeped in a history, that is steeped in a history of racism, steeped in a history of hate, steeped in a history of colonization. And so that trauma that we're asking dancers to revisit, I'm thinking about that as you had shared there, that is often forgotten.
Exactly. And I think in the reverse of that, some companies, as a sort of a knee-jerk reaction to this conversation blowing up in 2020, was to ask their Black dancers, what shall we do? And these are young dancers who are, going through all the struggles just to be a dancer, let alone to be a dancer of color in a space where maybe they have not always felt welcome. And, it's a massive conversation. One young Black dancer can't answer for everyone's opinion on what we should do with the Arabian dance in the Nutcracker, for example. So I think it's also the part of the discussions we've been trying to drive are to take the labor off of your dancers.
Yes.
You are the boss, you are the owner, you are the director. You can go out and do the work and figure it out, and there'll be mistakes made. And I think that we have to all agree that it's okay to make mistakes as we go through this kind of very uncomfortable moment in history. But please don't find the one Black dancer in the company and put it all onto them to either do the work or to say that they're okay with it, so that means you get a pass. So there's so many levels that need to be addressed, that it can feel overwhelming sometimes. So we just really have to take it each day and each ballet at a time and see if we can make change.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Cassa. And it does bring me to the question of collaborators, because I found that is something that has been so precious to me as a dance artist, as a Black artist that is navigating the spaces that I'm navigating, the people that I'm collaborating with that support my practice, but also support and uplift my well-being. And they're considering that. And so I'm curious to know who or what are some of the collaborators or collaborations that have supported the advocacy of the work that you are doing, that support in taking care of all of you, a Ballet Black, and also support in guiding, moving, and joining forces with you in this work as you move forward.
I think over the 22 years, I would say for the first maybe a decade. In a lot of ways, I felt that we were out here by ourselves, kind of at our own bubble, trying to do something that was not really done in the UK. And although we had support from venues and building support, we didn't have a lot of vocal support about what we were doing. And that started to change as we built our own reputation for being good at what we're doing. So at the beginning, nobody knew who we were. So we had no reputation. No one knew who I was because I left school and started the company. So I had nothing to trade on in terms of reputation. And then as time has gone on, and as we've grown more politically aware, when we collaborate with choreographers to tell more Black stories, which is something that's happened in the last 5 years, it's really felt different here. So although we've had a great time with choreographers of all different colors at Ballet Black, there is something about close collaboration with a dance maker who's standing at the front of the room, who understands where we are coming from, even if it's as simple as not asking us any kind of question about diversity, because you would just never ask it of someone who is, of a similar background to you. So that has helped us to feel, I suppose, confident and brave enough to follow a path that has meant we've made more works by and about the Black experience and by Black practitioners. And that, I think, it's a shift in the ballet world, in that there's repertoire now that's about something historical. So, for example, our Nina Simone ballet is, I think, the only ballet in the world about a real historical figure. We also have a ballet by the same choreographer, Mthuthuzeli November, about the South African mining strikes back in the 40s that were the precursor to the anti-apartheid movement. And these are not ballets you're going to see, on the bill with Swan Lake or Giselle or classic repertoire like that. But by collaborating with artists who are from a similar background or have similar heritage to us, we're able to start to build a canon of work that is about the Black experience. And that, I think, is a really important sort of collaboration to have, especially in this year.
Thank you, Cassa. Cassa, you were mentioning some of the ballet works prior to our break, and Nina by Whatever Means will be presented in the upcoming Fall for Dance North Festival and is choreographed by Mthuthuzeli November, who you mentioned earlier. Talk to us about the work, please, and its testament to the lens of Black experiences through classical ballet.
Well, I think that this story for Mthuthuzeli was something that he'd wanted to tell for a while. But I think he would agree that he wanted to develop as a choreographer before tackling something as epic as the story of Nina Simone. And so he joined us in 2015 and had come to us having already choreographed a lot in South Africa and started to do small commissions here for us here in London. And that built up to Ingoma, the ballet in 2019 about the South African mining strike, which was his first main stage work here in the UK. And it premiered at the Barbican. So that's a very large venue here, very prestigious. And it went on to win Best Production at the Olivier Awards, which is the highest accolade that you can be given here in the UK. And that led to another work for Ballet Black. And then that led to Nina. So a few years later, I think maybe about 4 years later, he said, I am ready to make my Nina ballet. So we talked a lot as a company about what elements of her life we would focus on. And the thing that we were really drawn to, and that a lot of us didn't know, is that she had wanted to be a classical pianist and had been turned down by a very prestigious music institute. And she believed it was because of the color of her skin. And that really resonated with the whole company, because we are all existing in an art form that historically has not been open to dancers of Black and Asian descent. And for whatever reason, you know, whether it was your teacher that said something to you that maybe would indicate that you shouldn't be in ballet, or the wider dance world, it felt very important to tell this story that Nina Simone, as hugely famous and brilliant as she was, wasn't that happy in the musical path she followed, and that she'd really wanted to be a classical musician her entire life. So we try to even acknowledge that in the interval of our show by using a piece of her music that she played at Carnegie Hall, so that the audience can hear some of her, I don't know if it's her preferred music, but some of the things that she was really passionate about. So that was the starting point for the company for Nina. And with Mthutu and the input from the company and our collaborators and our composer, as well as Nina's incredible music, we managed to create this short in terms of Swan Lake and Giselle, but a piece that has really been so incredibly well received here in the UK that every single performance ends with a standing ovation, because our Nina, played by Isabella Corsi, just whips the audience into a frenzy. So every night we are guaranteed of a standing ovation, and we hope very much to have that at Fall for Dance.
Well, I am looking so forward to it, and I'm curious, as we're talking about Nina Simone and the incredible history that lives and breathes through Nina Simone's life, and now is living in and breathing and being explored through this work. What are some of the questions that the work invites us to think about as we take it in and as we observe it? What are some of those questions?
Well, I think we start with a very young Nina, and we see her musical journey, I suppose, through playing in the church for her mother, who was a preacher, a very well-respected preacher, and how that took her, how she wished it would take her to classical music training. So she was able to do that privately, but when it came time to audition for an actual school, that's where she was rejected and discovered that to make a living, she was so talented that she could play jazz music in clubs to earn a living. And that is where something caught fire for her. And although it wasn't the way I think she had hoped it would go, I mean, look, the legacy of Nina Simone is undeniable. So there was something very special, even if she wasn't necessarily thrilled to be doing it. We look at her relationship with her husband, Andy Stroud, and how that was a very volatile home life that she was experiencing. And we also look at what was happening in the civil rights movement at that time and how she became a slightly unwilling spokesperson for the civil rights movement in the US at the time. And I hope that we are showing the audience a glimpse of the kind of pressures that she was under, not only to be this musical icon, but also to be a spokesperson for a generation, even when she wasn't necessarily comfortable with doing that.
I am so curious about the creative process in bringing in the dancers, the artists into a level of understanding about Nina Simone's life while also connecting with music and the storyline that is being shared. Can you talk about perhaps the musical collaborations that are happening, the music that is being used in supporting the telling of the story? And also, if you can share more about the approaches to supporting the artists that you're working with, the dancers, in connecting to that storyline and music.
Well, I would say it's very much led by Mthuthuzeli. So first of all, we read a lot of stuff about Nina Simone's history, and that's where we first discovered her audition for the Curtis Institute, discovered she didn't get in. And although they never said it was because of her race, that's certainly what she believed. And that is what history has kind of taught us ever since, that was the reason, that was the thing that stopped her, because she had trained and was such an amazing pianist that it seemed unlikely there'd be any other reason why she wouldn't get in. So we read everything we could lay our hands on, and we're very fortunate now that we have YouTube at our disposal. So we were able to watch her in concert through different phases of her life, through the earliest footage that is available of her, right through to the later years when she would be quite she would have a lot to say to the audience. And that was a really useful tool, particularly for our dancer that plays Nina, because she mimes from a Nina Simone speech, and she has been able to remold the way she speaks. She's a Brazilian dancer, so she has a very different way of pronouncing words, but she was able, through watching footage of Nina Simone, to really capture her mannerisms and her gestures. We've even had people here watching the show who think that it is the dancer speaking. That's how well she does it. So all of those little things were going on in terms of research. Mthuthuzeli also had the dancers create their own characters and backstories to populate scenes about, going to a jazz club to watch Nina Simone. Who are the people in the audience? What is their story? Where have they come from? How old are they? Where do they live? Who are they friends with in the club? Who do they find attractive? So there are all these little tiny details that go into making a ballet that the audience hopefully won't notice, because the story will be seamless, because the dancers spent months working on the characters of who they're playing. So not just the known characters like Nina Simone, her husband and mother, but the people that populate her world.
Wonderful. And Mthuthuzeli is such a brilliant artist.
Yeah.
So I'm very much, once again, looking forward to seeing the work live. What about musical composition?
Well, we knew that we didn't want to do the greatest hits of Nina Simone, which is a sentence that Mtutu often says at post-show talks, because sometimes people say, "Oh, I thought I would hear more Nina Simone music," but we are telling her story from a young age up to when she would have created the music that we now know. So it didn't really make sense to us that at the age of 8 we'd be hearing one of her songs playing, because that wasn't who she was in that moment. So we were careful in building. So Mthuthuzeli and his composer worked together to really create a score that helps drive the story of Nina's life, not necessarily Nina's music, but of her actual life, until we build to the end of the ballet, where we hear the very famous and brilliant Cinnamon.
Wonderful. I'm so mindful of the many words that I've heard from Nina Simone over these many years, and the voice of Nina Simone that has come through when listening not only to music, but in watching and experiencing the activism that has also taken place through the music, the work, the voice, the talks, the shares on stage. As Ballet Black moves forward, and when you think about the works that Ballet Black has also been presenting, including this one, in what ways are you hoping that continued activism will be a part of the work that the company does moving forward?
That's a difficult question, I think, because these works are so important, and they really speak to our Black audience in a way that other ballets don't reach. But I'm mindful that the dancers are dancers. They're not Black dancers first, they are dancers. And that sometimes they just want to dance. They don't want to have to carry a message in what they're doing in every single piece of repertoire. I don't know if that makes sense. But, for a long time, we were just making ballets because we all love ballet and we just want to create new work. Then things started to shift, and it was important for us to tell certain stories because we were the only company in the UK that could do that through ballet. And now it's, for me as the director, I think it's a balance that we need to find between creating work because it's a brilliant choreographer, regardless of who they are or where they're from, but also, is there something that we want to say? So for our 20th anniversary, I worked with all the dancers to create a ballet that was exactly about all of the issues and the great things that we encounter being Ballet Black. And that was something that could only be done with me and the dancers, because only we know what it's like to be in Ballet Black. But I also want to make sure that choreographers like Mthuthuzeli don't feel they have to tell a story that is an activist story. If they want to come and make a ballet about how great flowers are and it's a good ballet, then I think that young Black choreographers should be given exactly the same opportunity as any other choreographer. So it's very tricky. And I think the thing that steers it for me is that the choreographers who have wanted to say something have said, this is what I want to say, and it's about this issue or this historical moment, rather than me saying, I need you to make a piece about this. So if it's an authentic wish of the choreographer to tell the story of Nina Simone or tell the story of Ballet Black or whatever the story is, then it will work. If it's imposed upon them, because you're Black, you must tell this story, we need you to do this, it doesn't work. So that is my job, to make sure that there is artistic freedom for the people that come to Ballet Black to create, and that the dancers in the company know that they are artists first. And if we're telling a story about something that really means something, great. But also if we're doing a ballet about something because it's just beautiful, or the patterns are incredible, or the costumes are, that is also allowed, because it's not the artist's job, it's not the Ballet Black dancer's job to fix racism because they did not create it. somebody else did, and that is someone else's job to deconstruct.
Cassa, it's been such a wonderful, extraordinary, really, opportunity to sit down with you and to hear your thoughts today on the show. And I am thinking so deeply about one of your last shares, and it makes me really thrilled, actually, because I think it causes us to consider about the importance of artists having the agency to tell the story that they want to tell, that we want to tell, and not always feeling like we have to teach and educate.
Mm.
So I greatly appreciated those shares. I think it speaks volumes and is an important reminder. I have had this conversation with so many folks, and I'm part of the reason why it makes me happy to hear it is because as a Black artist myself, I know that I want the agency to tell the
Yeah.
story that I want to tell. I don't always
Mm.
want to have to, I don't want to feel like I'm always being put in a position to have to tell the story that other people think that I need to tell.
Yes. And because it's so rooted, often the assumption is it's rooted in trauma, that's another level of labor that
Yes.
we just should not have to, we should not impose on artists unless they want to delve into that kind of story.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I thank you. I thank you for many things, not only for sharing this space with me today, but I thank you for opening up about the conversation. And also thank you for the work that Ballet Black has been doing. It's such an honor. And I look forward again to seeing that in person, but really an honor to witness the work and the conversations that the company is having. And so thank you.
No, thank
Cassa.
you for having us. And I can't wait for you to see it.
I can't wait either. And I actually am looking forward to a conversation that I'll be having with Mthuthuzeli November in the very near future to continue the exploration of the work. And so to you, I say, I'll see you soon.
I'll see you very soon. And you'll see the set first, hopefully. All being well.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you. Safe travels and looking forward to seeing you in Toronto. Thank you for being here on Turnout Radio.
Thank you, Nicole.
My pleasure. By Whatever Means is devised by award-winning choreographer Mthuthuzeli November. Drawing from classical ballet, November weaves a poignant portrayal of Nina Simone's turbulent and influential life. This emotional, empowering love letter to the legendary icon is a testament to Ballet Black's commitment to portraying the Black experience through classical ballet, expanding their repertoire with relevance and resonance for audiences of diverse backgrounds, ages, and cultures. The work will present in the 9th annual Fall for Dance North Festival as part of the Unbowed Signature Program 2, which showcases today's most promising international contemporary voices and the steps they are taking in the dance world. Their works see the dancing body as a container of history, an agent of social change, and a site of celebration. Unbowed is a journey of dance that encompasses the spirit of unwavering resistance, tireless love, and a promise of evolution through activism and vigor. Today you've been listening to the sounds of Cannonball Adderley with Autumn Leaves and John Coltrane with Blue Train. Welcome back to Turnout Radio on CIUT 89.5 FM. I'm Nicole Inica Hamilton. Well, we have come to the end of our interview segment with the wonderful Cassa Pancho. Many thanks to Cassa for joining me on the broadcast today for our discussion about the work of Ballet Black and the upcoming performance of Cassa Pancho's Ballet Black in Nina by Whatever Means, choreographed by Mthuthuzeli November. Yes. The work will present at the 9th Annual Fall for Dance North Festival on October 6th and 7th in person at Meridian Hall. Now, the festival exists to break boundaries and remove barriers with pluralism and affordability at its core. Fall for Dance North, or FFDN, celebrates, nurtures, and amplifies established and emerging Canadian dance artists, creates global connections, and inspires future audiences to sustain the art form. The full festival runs from September 26th straight through to October 7th, 2023, right here in Toronto, with some wonderful digital offerings for a wider global audience. You can learn more at ffdnorth.com. Well, friends, if you missed the top of today's broadcast, we have got you covered. Following the show, we invite you to visit turnoutradio.com and ciut.fm, where today's full interview will soon be streaming. And turnoutradio.com is also where you can find more of the conversations that we have been having over the years about the stories that live both on and beyond the stage. Technical production of today's broadcast was facilitated by the absolutely fabulous Amber Downey-Back. Join us again next week for more of Turnout Radio. I'm Nicole Inica Hamilton. I hope your week finds you turning out to dance.